Hey everyone, and welcome to my video where we're going to be going over tables. So let's get started. So tables are used for you to be able to display your data in an organized fashion. So tables contain headers, rows and columns, just like how you were to create if you were to create a table in Excel or Microsoft Word. An HTML table is the same thing. So let's dive right into creating our first table. So the way that you create a table, you first have to give it the table tag. So now we created our table element. And now within our table, we have to specify a row. And the way that we do that is with tr, which means table row. And within a row, we want to say we have different types of columns. So let's say we have a column called, ID, for instance. Um, and here you can see that I created this column as a T with a TH tag. What TH means is table header. And this will automatically bold and center whatever content is in the table header. So here we have a row, and our row has a column that is a header. So let's create another header, food. Um, do I like this? Okay, so now we have three columns in our table. We have an ID, we have a food, and we have do I like this? So now let's go ahead and create a new row. So this is our first row that has three columns. So now let's create our content row. And the way to do this is instead of using TH here, here I use TD. So instead of using TH here, we're going to use TD, which stands for table data. So let's say ID 1. Now this is our actual data, right? This is our headers, and now this is our data. And by default, the data are not bolded, they're just regular, and they're aligned to the left. So food, let's say cake, and then yes. So this correlates with this correlates with this, and this correlates with this. So now let's create another row. And let's do ID 2. Let's create another row or another column. And then, I don't know, I have a sun, so let's say dirt. Do I like this? No. And let's just copy this. Change this. Orange. Yes. So let's save this and let's see what this looks like. So this is what our table looks like. So let's actually give this table a border of 1. And let's save. And now let's refresh. That way we can see our columns and headers and rows a little better. And within our table, you can actually put anything that you want. Like, it doesn't have to be just text. It can be buttons. It can be any type of input, checkboxes, pictures, whatever you want to put in here, you can. Other tables even. Now let's say that you don't like the spacing between each cell. So what you're seeing here is really just each cell having its own border and then the table having its own border. But let's say that you don't like the spacing. So what you could do is you could specify over here cell spacing equals 0, save, and then we'll refresh our page, and you can see that that spacing went away. So now if I actually make this smaller, if I zoom out to the normal zoom, it looks a bit more normal. And now let's say that we wanted to do the opposite and make it have more spacing than this. So what we would do here is we would specify, however many pixels you want to push them apart by. And then let's refresh our page, and you can see that now there's 10 pixels in each direction on the table. Now let's say that, for this row, dirt, for ID number 2, let's say that we don't have any data here, right? So what we could do is we could combine both of these cells and just make it into one cell. So the way that you do that is, let's open up our Visual Studio Code. So the way that you would do that is you would use call span, and then you would specify how many columns does it span. So we will say this spans 2 columns. Actually, this is in the wrong spot. Let's do it on this row. So let's say that this spans 2 columns. So now we don't actually need this column. Well, let's keep it on there, and I'll show you guys what happens if you do. So we'll minimize, and you'll see that now this is spanning this column and this column, and it pushed no over here to the side. So in order to get rid of no, since this is technically now 3 columns, because this itself is spanning 3 columns, this is how you would do that. The same thing you can do with rows. So let's combine 2 and 3, these 2 rows together on this column. So the way that you would do that is you would go to right here, and you would specify rows span, and then you would do 2. Then let's save and refresh, and you can see that now we are taking up 3 spaces, or 3 rows, or 2 rows here, my bad. And now let's get rid of this 3 over here, because this is technically being taken by this 2. So let's save and let's refresh, and this is how you would do that. And now let's say that you wanted to give a name to this table. So for instance, this table is things that I like to eat, right? So we can give this table a caption. And the way that we would do that is we would use a caption tag, and inside this we would do things I like to eat. Save. And you can see that it gave it the caption of things I like to eat, and that it centered it by default. So I hope this video helped, and if it did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. All right, everyone, have a good day. Thanks. Bye.